If I'm being honest, life been lifing super hard lately. Shit's been rough for your boy. A couple weeks ago, I found out a dude I've been friends with since elementary school back home got shot and killed. I've been struggling trying to find my next step forward in life. And with how bad the job market's been, and I was out of work for a minute, I'll be honest, money been tight for me. Like, tightest it's been in a long time. Money's always been my biggest cause of stress since I became an adult. Part of it's kind of just a me thing. I think growing up the way I did, I just kind of grew up learning to watch money and watch your spending. Even when I was up and like doing well financially, I was always fixated on, making sure I had a safety net of money. But lately, bro, it's felt like I'm bleeding out. I've been doing what I can here and there, but without steady income, it's been tough. Point is, I'm in a rough patch right now, like I know so many other people are. There's always somebody that got it worse, and I understand that. And some days, I wake up and it's like I got the weight of every bad decision and mistake I've ever made just fucking sitting on my chest. I've always been the kind of guy who's my own worst enemy. Nobody can hurt me as much as I've hurt myself. I fixate so much on my mistakes, and it seems like I forget any of the good things I've done. I don't know why, it's like I'm trying to prove myself or like prove my worth to somebody, but I got no clue who that person is. It's amazing how easy it is to let life slip away from us. It's like we've completely forgotten that no matter how long we stumble around in the dark, eventually you will come upon some light. And that's just a fancy and poetic way of saying, shit gets better. No matter what, it eventually will get better. And for a long time, I was always the therapist friend. And I know a lot of you know exactly what I mean. I'm the guy that, people would open up to and tell their secrets or their problems to, ask for advice. God only knows why. Because, I say this with all humility, but it's amazed me how since I was basically in high school, people would always come to me, for some reason and thought I had shit figured out. When in reality, I was more lost and more fucked up than most of them. But since I was like 18, there's been that one saying I've had that I've said to others many, many, many times, and it's ingrained in the back of my head. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Sometimes that tunnel might seem like it stretches on forever, but there will always be a light at the end of it. I'm gonna peel back the mask a little bit. Like, this isn't even Yankee, this is Michael, which most of y'all don't know my name is Michael. I'm struggling like really bad right now with money. I fucked up. I quit my job that I had back in May. And, I seriously thought I'd be able to find another job, within a month or two max. And I filled out, bro, hundreds of applications. I went without work for, I think, over 4 months. I blew through all the money I had saved. And at this point, I've damn near maxed out my credit cards. Like, I spent all of 2024 paying off debt, working my ass off to straight grinding, just to fuck up and end up right back where I started. Thankfully, I'm only like 5K in debt, so it's not the end of the world. Like, I can pay it off again. But, like, that's not what's bugging me. The shit that eats away at me is, like, no matter how many times I'll make a mistake, I don't learn from it. And it seems to always be this one fuck up in particular. Life does not go the way you plan it. I say all this because although I'm not at the end of my current tunnel, the light is starting to peek through. I'm slowly growing this channel. I'm making a couple dollars from YouTube, nothing crazy, but I just recently started a decent job. Money's still gonna be fucked for me for now, but hopefully in a few months I should be okay. The job's only a part-time because I was willing to take whatever I could get, and honestly, I wanted some extra free time to try to continue kind of going down this path with all of you, and I'm contemplating going back to school as well. So like I said before, some days, I wake up and it's like I got the weight of every bad decision and mistake I've ever made just weighing me down. But you know what, man? Honestly, some days I wake up and I feel weightless. I don't feel all that shit weighing me down. Sometimes I wake up and I just feel alright. I see a lot of comments that people leave. Some are love and support, some are criticism and hate, some are just troll shit. But one that I see that sticks out a lot can be kind of rounded to the phrase, why do you do this? You know, why do I make these videos? Why do I talk about my personal life and shit like that? Some people comment and say, you know, I'm speaking to others about issues that it'll make people feel less alone. And some people think I'm just kind of grifting, trying to farm views off people's problems. Truthfully, bro, I don't know. I deadass, I don't know why I make these, or like what started me making these, or really what I hope to gain from it. I think for me, it's just like therapeutic. I've bottled everything up inside my entire life, like almost 3 decades worth of sadness and pain and anger and frustration, just fucking everything. I just kind of shoved it inside. So, you know, you, the other person who's on the other side of the screen or just listening in, I don't know, you kind of get to be my therapist. Not the other way around. Like, I've had a lot of people say, like, oh, this is their therapy session. Nah, this is my therapy session. You know, these videos, this channel, this community of people, not to sound too corny, this has been my light at the end of a really long tunnel. Since the day I turned 18, I've tried to figure out what I want to do in my life. You know, I've tried jobs in different fields, but nothing really ever spoke to me. I've just kind of drifted along day to day, month to month, year to year, hoping and praying that the answer will fall in my lap, and it never did. But then I made a YouTube video that I assumed nobody would ever watch about how it felt like I've wasted my 20s. And then another one, and another one, and another one. All these videos I make with, you know, some gameplay in the background about my life and my problems and my insecurities. You know, these videos that I thought nobody would see. You know, maybe like a few dozen would click maybe, but now look. I think in the last 3 months, I've gotten over 650,000 views on my channel. I've gotten thousands and thousands and thousands of comments from strangers on the internet. I got a Discord server with like over 250 people that like genuinely fuck with me and I could talk to whenever. I don't say all this to pat myself on the back or gloat or like any of that stupid shit. You know, I'm saying this to say or to show that there's been a light at the end of my tunnel. You know, you have been the light at the end of my tunnel. Life can fucking suck sometimes, you know. I know that, you know that. But no matter how dark that tunnel is and no matter how long you stumble your way through, just try to remember, you know, there's always a light at the end of it. I've been Yankee. Peace.